Hey ratbags, it's Jade. Today taking a look at all the minor cards in Nightingale, pretty much playing everyone and giving you the lowdown, more or less. There's a great selection of things that are going to give you buffs, some that give you really negative effects that you have to be careful of, and obviously some that are going to help you craft and get more resources with some gorgeous effects for the skyboxes and the landscape. So minor cards are different from the major and biome cards, of course. They're the ones that set out what kind of realm you're going to experience, but then the minor cards can be used to adjust and tailor it on the fly. There's 69 realm cards in total, but a lot of them are to do with the major and biome cards. There's probably about, I would say, 23 to 25 minor cards that you can play that give you a whole variety of different buffs and boons. You craft them just like you do the rest of the cards using different materials, and some cards will require more advanced materials to make a lot of these. So minor cards will stay with that effect on that realm as long as that realm is open or unless you change it. Minor cards also get used up when you use them. There's 3 tiers of a lot of the minor cards. So the first one I'm going to show you is probably the Blood Moon card, and then you've got Blood Moon Eminent and then Blood Moon Apogean, and they're the 3 tiers basically. Each tier will have a stronger effect, and some of the later tiers like the Apogean might even give you more resources if it's a kind of card that will give you more items when you're either crafting, harvesting or killing. But likewise, if it's a card that brings more enemies or stronger enemies, then that will get even worse if you play either Eminent and then Apogean. So you play these minor cards at Realmic Transmuters. You'll find these at the top of Fey Towers guaranteed, and also just in random spots sometimes on the map. Otherwise you can craft your own Realmic Transmuter, place it down anywhere you want and go ahead and make the world the realm however. Just like all crafting benches, you can dismantle this, get all your resources back and take it with you. So you've always got the ability to place one down and change the realm to whatever liking you want. So the Blood Moon card, a dangerous card to play. You will get more items dropping from enemies, but it's going to make your health and your regeneration rate fall. We'll see how effective this is. Whoa, yep, that's definitely a Blood Moon. Some of these even I haven't actually seen or tested, and certainly not this one. So yeah, this has probably reduced my health by about 150. I'm pretty sure it's percentage based though, rather than an actual set number. Otherwise you'd be able to cheese it quite easily if you was really high leveled or certainly had a huge amount of health. And so the regen rate is definitely a little bit slower as well. So not necessarily more essence, but certainly I'll get more of the arcane wicks that maybe drop and other items that you get from creatures. Not just the bound, but others too. The Maleficent card particularly yields more resources from bound. Is it any different from the Blood Moon? Let's take a look. And the side effects of this card is it's going to do damage against you at all times. Effectively your health is going to tick away at a slow, steady rate. So definitely something you have to be wary of, making sure you've got plenty of heals and to keep your health up as high as possible. Slight change also in the moon, or whatever that is, the sun. Now I did end up having a run around. It does look like it does drop slightly more resources from the bound than you would get in with just the previous Blood Moon card. Let's make it a bit more peaceful. The Thin Veil card gives you more stamina. Also allows you to do quite a floaty jump, and you're definitely not going to take as much damage from falling from great heights, if at all, without needing your umbrella. So really good for taking on certain enemies that may yeet you into the sky occasionally. There's another card which I'm going to show you guys that does this to an even more extreme, where you'd be literally bouncing 3 or 4 stories high. It's a really good card to use, especially when you've got lots of cliffs, particularly in the desert. The stamina hardly gets used while running around. This is a great card to utilise, especially if you've got something you want to do that's all the way on the other side of the map. Treasury cards will give you the chance to get more essence, but it does mean that your weight and your stamina is going to be reduced. Crafted items are going to weigh twice as much as they normally do, and you'll use up a lot more stamina. So it's a trade-off for sure, but vital when you're trying to farm this particular essence to go and unlock stuff from traders. So moving over to a forest realm to show you some of these a bit better, let's take a look at the Tempest card. Particularly good for magic users out there that want to get the most out their enchantments and their charms. So this card is going to make it continuously rain, but it does mean my magic will be more effective. Not every time does the environment change, but most times while using this card you'll get a slightly different colour palette, and the idea is that when you step into a realm you'll actually hopefully be able to tell what kind of realm it is or what kind of card's being played. So a brief demonstration, but basically my recovery was definitely a lot quicker while using this card. So the negative trade-off with this of course is that you start getting wet, which can restrict or stop your stamina from replenishing as quick, and if it starts hailing that can actually damage your equipment, your durability of items. So you definitely want to use this with a one-handed weapon and making sure you've always got your brolly on you. There's a whole selection of cards very similar to the greenhouse cards where it basically gives you better growth in plants or you get more yield while harvesting certain resources, and they're titled things like lumber or quarry, and basically you'll get more stone. But they also affect stuff that you craft some of these cards as well, so always pay attention to the descriptions and really make sure you're swapping them in and out whenever you're going to do something like bulk craft some resources like ingots or make lots of lumber. The harvester card is really good for crafting them farming tools like sickles, pickaxes and axes because you'll get more yield when using it, but you will do less damage with them. Something similar within this range is the quarry card, which will increase the quality of stone made products as well as speed up the refinement process for stone and get you more stone when you gather some. Some cards help with your crafting placement, so basically if you don't have your benches underneath roofs or on foundations, you can lose a little bit of an effect from them, and it slows the process of refinement unless you place the artisan card, which effectively means you can have your crafting benches out in the open and you'll still get all the bonuses and buffs. Also gives extra durability to a lot of items that you're crafting, so perfect if you're going to be making maybe some armor or tool sets, although there are other cards that can increase the amount of damage that you do with certain tools. One of them cards is a bulwark card, and it will basically give you more blocking ability or blocking efficiency, but at the cost of actual stamina use. It will take more stamina to use it. So if you want to be a real tanky character, then you can use this while crafting your tools and weapons, and it will give you that extra blocking ability. The hunted card will give you more resources when you skin creatures, and yeah, it's got a very kind of purpley hue to the trees, a little bit more than previous cards. Honestly, some of these cards are definitely going to be more useful than others. I would say you get plenty of hide, you'll have literally chests full of it, so it's not something you probably need loads of unless you're going to hunt a specific high tiered creature. One card that really restricts the amount of things that you can see because it adds a smog to the whole realm is the industry card. With this card you'll gain extra ammunition and ingots when crafted. These are the kinds of things that you really got to train yourself to keep using because it can make such a difference. You normally get like double the output in terms of either ingots or bullets. So that's a huge saving, a huge increase. So just making sure you've always got one of these at your home realm or wherever your crafting benches are going to be. Downside to this card, apart from the smog, is it will make everything take 15 seconds longer to craft. Something similar is the forge card, but this works for all items crafted at the forge, and again it will make everything take a bit longer. With the added bonus of giving your metal items more quality, but if you craft anything else it might not turn out the right tier that you thought it would. If you're a bit of a builder you might want to use the settler card. You'll give more durability to your buildings and also increase the amount of refined materials that you get, like things like stone and carved wood. For a lot of the structures you may need to get lots of stone powder as well, so anything like that or lumber, then you definitely want to be using this card to get all their materials if you're going to be building a base somewhere. A lot of the negative effects are quite similar. While you have this card equipped, the amount of your stamina recovery will be reduced. If you're looking for more damage with your melee hits as well as being able to carry more items, then the might card might be for you, but it will mean that your equipment will take a lot more durability loss. And that counts for your armour and your weapons too. Don't worry if you're looking for something a bit more aggressive, lots of the cards give you bonus damage, especially when using certain weapons. So there's a card for the rifle, card for your shotguns and a card for pistols too. And effectively give you more damage with each shot that you fire. The downside is that if you use any other kind of weapon it won't do as much damage. So it's all about planning your adventure into the realm. Are you going to be using a certain gun over another? Well then make sure if you want more damage you put something like the marksman for rifles. It's the duelist I do believe for pistols, and I think the outlaw card for shotguns. Don't overlook the amphibious card. This is great for swamps, although you won't be doing that much swimming because there isn't that much deep water other than around the edges of the islands in the realms. It will give you extra little bit of disease resistance and extra stamina, but only while you've got the wet buff activated or debuff. The Dragon's Hoard card, this can increase the amount of loot that you get from chests. You've got more chance of finding gems and ore, but it will lower your damage resistance. So if you really want to just stock up on a lot of potions and maybe get some quick essence, completing a lot of the encounters with this card, guaranteeing that you're going to get a lot of chests that you'll find exploring all the different points of interest. This does have 3 different versions of it, and so the more loot that you'll find, as well as ores like it said, and even more resources in chests as you get the Apogean and the Eminent. The favourite one overall is the Trickster card. This mixes up what resources you get when harvesting and gives you that ultimate jumping ability. It's also got probably the most amazing skybox, so particularly useful if you're going to be doing a lot of the puzzle jump areas where it's sometimes hard to get on top of some of the monuments. And it does have practical uses as well. Trees drop meat. You get hide from lots of the branches and twigs instead of actually sticks and fibre, as well as bones. And you get wood from taking on lots of rocks, but particularly tier 2 wood. Considering I am in a forest and not a swamp, this is actually pretty good. I'm picking up desert and swamp wood instead. The only problem is, if you do use a one-handed weapon and you're dodging, then you might get thrown a little bit further than you anticipated. And if you skin an animal in this realm with the Trickster card on, you'll actually get a bunch of ore and stone, but more of a chance of getting certain ores that might be a bit more rarer. And finishing off probably with the strangest card, as in it doesn't really seem to have any benefits. I can't understand why anyone would play it. It's called the Deep Fey Realm card, and it's just got all negatives. It literally will make your hits do less damage, you'll take more damage, your health and your stamina will regenerate slower. I can only presume it's meant to be a trolley experience or to really give yourself an extra challenge, or maybe the rewards aren't explicitly stated because it really wants you to find out and test it. Now, I didn't do it here, I actually done it with my friend Raz Clark, so go and check out his video, as it will be a little interlude where we actually forget that this card is on while we try and take on a Eldroton. But as you can see, it makes the world very dark and gloomy, and immediately started raining. So yeah, let me know how you get on if you try this card out. So that currently is pretty much all of the minor cards. A few variants that maybe I didn't talk about, but you get the idea. They're going to be just giving you more resources. One Essence one is really good. I definitely recommend that. And certainly, like I said, making sure you've got that in mind. If you're going to do a task, you do it in bulk. You have one of these cards playing if you're producing lots of metal items or making lots of stone stuff for base building. I do think they will add the ability to play more than one minor card at a time in future. I reckon they will add the ability to have 2, as it was something they were messing around with in the early playtests. Back then you would play all your cards at once, not with the minors being played another time, but I guess it was maybe a bit overwhelming trying to work out what cards do what. So maybe I think this is a gentle way to get into the minor cards, and we will see an increase so that you can combine some of these, because it does at times feel like a bit pointless with some of these cards, as you're just not really going to play one just to get that minute little increase. But some of them definitely absolutely are worth it. So until next time, Ratbags, for the full game, I'll see you for more guides in Nightingale.